everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So spooky season is upon us, obviously, and I am planning to post this on Halloween, which is Friday instead of Saturday. So I will put a post on my community post. We're going to be reading spooky books for 24 hours. Last year I did a whole month of just reading all types of thrillers, mysteries, all the things. It was very tedious and very time consuming. So I feel like this is going to be my best bet to get some thrillers and some spooky books in without having to do it for an extended period of time. With that being said, rules. I will not be reading for 24 hours straight. I cannot do that. I'm a diabetic. I'm 36 years old. I need sleep. Then I'm not even doing 12 hours and 12 hours. Unfortunately, I'm just going to time myself reading for 24 hours. So whether that takes me 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days, I'm just going to start my timer every time I read. I'm just going to try this method out and see how it works, because yesterday, for example, I read for about 10 hours straight. I had no problem, but I only read one book. Let's see how this goes. Maybe it will encourage me to read more. TBR, we have One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. I can never say her name, but this is the first one. It is like a mystery thriller based in a high school. Someone dies and it's a whodunit type of thing, which is fun. Then we have Death of a Bookseller by Alice Slater. I'm very excited for this book, but honestly, the cover got me. I love pink. Anything pink I'm constantly attracted to, so it doesn't really matter, but I'm very excited for this. I'm not 100% sure what this is about, but I know it follows something about like a podcaster, if I'm not mistaken, and then a bookseller, and someone's obsessed with this true crime and then actually commits a crime, something like that. So very excited for this. And then I have My Murder, which is, I think, like sci-fi slash dystopian slash thriller mystery, and she kind of loses her memory and is trying to find her murderer, but she's within a support group of people who also passed away and came back and cloned whatever, and then they try to figure out their murder, something like that. So very interesting. It's got cloning, it's got mystery, it's got thriller, it's got everything that I want in a book. So I'm very excited to try this. And then the last one I have is from my library, and this is called The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. I saw that this is like inspired by one of Stephen King's book. I think it's Carrie, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a retelling of that. I love Carrie. Like, is it Carrie or Carrie? Carrie, I think. I loved Carrie. It was one of my favorite Stephen King movies as well as books. So I'm very excited to see what this is about. I think I might even start with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and set my timer, and then I think I have a couple of hours to read today. I don't have my watch on, but I mean, not today, but right now I'll read for a couple of hours, and then probably again tonight before I go to bed. That's what's happening in this video. A spooky 24-hour readathon. Let's see how we do. Hi friends! So I thought I'd change location because I'm getting sleepy in my bed. I didn't have a good night's rest last night. I probably slept about 4, maybe 5 hours if I was lucky. I just had really weird nightmares. I wasn't sleeping well. So anyway, I have got up now because firstly I need to eat lunch. It's already 2:30. So I need to eat lunch and I need to change locations. But we are almost 2 hours in, as you can see over there. And I just reached, I'm reading pretty slow, but I reached chapter 4, page 69. I also did download it on my Kindle because it is part of Kindle Unlimited. So it is basically a Carrie reimagining. In this book, we're following a high school student. She's a senior student. Her name is Maddie. She's actually biracial, but she lives in this small town called Springfield, and they are very racist. There's probably about 4 black people in every single grade. Her father has made her promise not to tell anyone or show any signs of being biracial, so she's passing as white. But one day when she is in gym class, she checks the weather and there's no rain forecasted, but she can see it's changing. So she goes to her gym teacher and she's like, you know, it's gonna rain, maybe we shouldn't do outside activities, but he's dead set on them just running laps. So there's a downpour, her hair starts to frizz, and she's mortified, absolutely mortified and traumatized by this, because now everybody's gonna know her secret, and they are very, very racist. Like I said, busy getting dressed and changed, and she doesn't want people to see her, but her gym teacher's an asshole, so sends her off to a class, and her hair's obviously puffy, and as she walks into the classroom, everybody's making fun of her. They're laughing, they're throwing pencils into her afro so it sticks, and they're making fun of it, and she has this, as Carrie does, this visceral reaction where she causes an earthquake and the windows shatter and whatever, her telekinesis comes into play. But it's different from Carrie in the sense that she's doing it out of emotions and not because her period just came, and I think that's how Carrie was, if I remember correctly. But it's really, really, yeah, it's not nice to read about, actually, because it is what it is. And obviously, yeah, I've spoken about how I feel about racism as well, and I feel like it's important to talk about and teach people about. But there is a star football player, and he is black. He's the only black person in their group, and he is dating another popular cheerleader called Wendy, and the two of them are dating, and they always go to him when they're trying to slander or speak about black people, because he seems to be very agreeable with them because he's gotten scholarships and he's a star athlete and he's gotten loads of opportunities. So he's just taking all this flack. Like, they want to know, how come nobody knew that Maddie was black when she's passing as white just because she's light skinned? How come his family didn't know, because don't all black people know each other? And it's just, oh my gosh, it's nasty and it's ugly. But Wendy herself she's popular and she's cheerleader and she has all these things going for her, but she isn't wealthy and no one knows this. She's hidden it really well. Her best friend is super wealthy and she's part of like the old money of this town in Georgia where they live in, and she gives her hand-me-downs to her friend and makes her feel really bad, her friend being Wendy. Wendy is just keeping this secret, but she is very intelligent. She works really hard so she can try and get a scholarship to join Kenny, which is this black guy at his university. He's going to Brown, I think. So she wants to surprise him when her scholarship and all of that goes through. So it's very interesting. It's very controversial, shall I say, because racism is talked about so boldly and so nastily. Like in Carrie, her mom is very strict and very religious and all this stuff, puts her in the closet to punish her and beats her and stuff like that. But in this story, Maddie doesn't have a mother. She doesn't know who her mother is because apparently she died during childbirth, but she has her father who is the white one, and he's obviously forcing her to pass as white. He has tried to relax her hair and do all these treatments, but her body rejects it and she gets like these big sores, blisters on her scalp. So now he uses like the old school hot combs, and he'll put grease in her hair and then do the hot comb. He punishes her by burning her on purpose. She has the closet, but it's not super religious. It's just a closet filled with pictures of blondes, brunettes, redheads, all white with big blue eyes, all dressed in like 1950s pinup style, and he wants her to pray that she can look like one of these women on the wall. Oh my god, honestly, it's described as a horror though, so I don't know where it's gonna go, but her powers have just come in. I'm only on page 69 and it's been heavy. There's also like supposed to be like mixed media where there is newspaper clippings, because we start at the end and work our way forward. So we start at where the prom happens and everybody apparently dies, which it says at the end, but we don't know what led to that. There's also I think it's a podcast that is also covering the case. So we have this podcast and then we also have like an investigation going on. So we're getting different snippets of other people's view of it. In actuality, everybody just wants to know how she was passing as white even she was black, and not really what caused her to explode and retaliate like that. So yeah, I know it's only going to get worse if I have any recollection of the movie as well as the book. It's only going to get worse. So let's see where it goes. But I'm going to make myself some lunch. There's some leftover pasta, so I'm just going to do like a chili and olive oil pasta with some chicken that I grilled yesterday. It is raining. Yesterday was 30 degrees and now it's raining. Look, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it's raining buckets outside. So yeah, probably a good thing that I moved position, because otherwise I will definitely go for a nap. But anyway, that's how far I've gotten. We're 2 hours into this challenge. Let's see how far it will take us. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I look a mess. I am about to get ready for an appointment that I have, but I have to drive like almost 45 minutes to get there. But I thought I'd just check in quickly in case I don't get any more reading done. But we're that far in. I can't even tell. That's 4 hours and 15 minutes, I think. So we have 19 hours and 42 minutes left. I actually only reached 45%, I think, and I am on page 182, chapter 11. So what I was saying yesterday about Carrie and getting her period, that finally came into play. There's also like a little mystery element because obviously she doesn't know her mom and she's now found her diary and she's kind of reading these entries, but it's written in a way where they don't actually make sense. It's almost like a riddle and she's not actually outright saying what she means. So it's very interesting. I haven't like felt any like pure horror, but it's very interesting and it is on Kindle Unlimited, which is quite cool. I barely read books that are on Kindle Unlimited and are available at my library, so I'm having a good time reading it and it's easy to read. Our main character, he's not really a main character, but let's just say the main male character has now asked her to the prom. He's also getting fed up now because the racism is like at a head right now and it's so bad. I think this book should come with a trigger warning. It doesn't have any trigger warnings from what I can tell because yeah, it's very, very racist and it's very, very like it could be traumatic and triggering for people who have been bullied. So yeah, I am having a good time. I don't have much time to talk now, but I just thought I would pop in and tell you guys how far I am and I'll timer, but I'll go and do my appointment, probably try and get to 50% and maybe a little bit more, and then I'll come talk to you guys again. But so far I'm having a good time. It is like Carrie, it does feel like it, but a black Carrie, I guess, or light-skinned black Carrie, which it's just a little bit weird, and the racism is like 1950s. Like this town is so weird and cult-like. It's doing my head in. One of the characters as well went to school for like a fancy dress and went as blackface. She gets expelled and she thinks there's nothing wrong with it and she hasn't done anything wrong. Media are like coming and taking notice now of all this racism, so everything's up in the air now, and I think obviously the bullying is gonna really ramp up now because this girl who got expelled and stuff, she thinks that she wasn't in the wrong and that Maddie, the main character, is in the wrong because she hid the fact that she was black, so she had every right to make fun of her. I'm gonna get ready for my appointment, then I'll keep reading and check in with you guys in a bit. We have 14 hours and 20 minutes left on the clock, which means we finished the first book in 10 hours and 40 minutes, which is quite long, but I feel like this method doesn't match me or I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't work for me, put it that way, because I find myself not wanting to reach for books. So I've been doing this challenge for what, 3-4 days now, and I only read like a little bit at a time. So this probably isn't the best method for me, but still it's a fun way just to challenge myself in a different way. And I finally finished it like literally 5 minutes ago. It was good. I really liked it. I think I'm going to give this a 4-star. Sorry about the light reflecting on it. My library always does these plastic covers on the book. Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 4-star. It does have a lot of triggers in it, so it doesn't have any actual trigger warnings, but I would say that obviously racism is something huge in this. And then there's police brutality, there's bullying, there is child abuse. There's a lot of dark themes in this book. It wasn't scary in any way because, I mean, yesterday even I watched Carrie again just to like get the gist of the movie because I haven't watched it in a really long time. I really like that movie though, but it doesn't give me that same horror feeling. But I guess it's because there was so much other things overshadowing like the horror elements, like the bullying and the racism and the police brutality, which was actually really triggering. It's like a more modern day Carrie even than the one that we watch because there's social media and all of that. But I had a good time reading it. It was so easy to read. Like I said, it is on Kindle Unlimited, which which I was reading on my Kindle, but the Kindle didn't have the epilogue at the end, so I had to read physically. Writing is absolutely tiny in here, so I'm glad I had something else. Really good for our first book, and it is YA, so yeah, it was good and it was easy to read. The time passed really quickly while I was reading it. I still can't believe it took me 10 hours though. However, I think the next book we're going to pick up is One of Us is Lying. I don't know, I'm just in the mood for it, and I feel like it might be a quick read, something extra in. So I'm aiming for 3 books, but we'll see. I think this one will go much quicker as well. The chapters seem a little bit shorter than they were in the previous book, so I think this will be an easy read and something quick just to break it up. And then I think we might finish with My Murder by Katie Williams, but I'm not 100% sure just yet. Maybe we'll fit in 4 books, who knows? We still have 14 hours left. Good morning, friends. So it's the next day now, and we have basically reached halfway. So we have 12 hours left, and I am on page 140, chapter 13 in One of Us is Lying. The book actually goes into so much more detail, obviously, than the series does. Actually, I'm watching the series alongside it, and I do prefer the book. I like the descriptions in the book a lot better. I don't like Bronwyn's character in the show. I really don't like, I don't know, I think they could have matched a better actress, no offense. If you don't know, it's about, is it 5 students who go to detention and only 4 of them leave. So one of them is poisoned, but yeah, basically poisoned because he's allergic to peanuts, and they find traces of peanut oil in the cup that he drank. But what landed them in detention is weird because all of them were found with cell phones on them that weren't their cell phones, and it started ringing during class. So they all end up in detention, whatever, together. They basically are a bunch of people who don't really get on outside of detention. They're like all from different circles and whatever. So we have Addie, Bronwyn, Cooper, and Nate. So Nate is like a drug dealer at school, and he's gone to jail a couple of times. We have Bronwyn, who is like she's in competition with Simon to become valedictorian. Simon has this app that he developed, and it's like a gossip app, and he drops like secrets and stuff. Everybody and Addie's a popular girl and a cheerleader. So all of them have these secrets that they don't want to get out, and for some reason, when Simon died, he had queued up a secret about all of them. So the police are now thinking that one of this group have plotted against Simon to murder him, whatever. So when he is poisoned, he goes into anaphylactic shock. His EpiPen is missing. The nurse's office have no EpiPens in them. So it's like a whodunit thing. And I think I've said that before. That rings something in my mind. So I might have mentioned that before, but that's kind of what's going on. So I like it. I like teenage thrillers like this. I find them very fun and easy to read. So nothing really scary about it though. So not really Halloween, but like I said, I couldn't find any paranormal thrillers that I really wanted to read. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I think I will finish this book before we come back because like I said, most people know what this is. It's a very old book. I think it was released in like 2018 or let's see. Hey, it doesn't even say. Usually the date's in the front of it here, but I cannot see it. Oh, 2017. Shit. Okay. I didn't realize it was that old. So this was first released in 2017. So I'm really behind on that. But at the time I wasn't reading like super popular books. I was just kind of reading Jodi Picoult and what was his name or her name? Something Douglas, Kennedy Douglas or something like that. I was reading books like that at the time. So very like literary fiction, but I don't like and enjoy that anymore. I also liked Elizabeth Flock. Like I mostly read thriller books, like also James Patterson, absolutely loved that as well. But never read like super popular books. I wasn't in any type of like book sphere, so I didn't know what about like new releases and all of that. I kind of just picked up a book, read the back, and then yeah. So yeah, I'm still catching up. Oh, there's a sticker stuck in my thing that I'm jabbering now. That's kind of where we're at. I'm going to finish it, let you know what I think, and then we will move on to the next book. It's going a lot slower. I feel like I'm being lazy with reading now that I don't have this allotted strict time. So I definitely prefer the timer split into 2 halves, or just read as much as you can during a period, go to sleep, and then finish it the next day. I prefer that like stressed environment. I feel like I perform better because yeah, this I actually read this at like the golf course yesterday, and then last night while I was cooking, I was reading and listening to the audiobook. So yeah, it's not going as well as I would think it would have. I think I've been going since Tuesday, and today's Saturday. So that's a long time. That's a very long time to keep this challenge going, but we're going to keep doing it. I'm going to read some more now, and then yeah, I'll let you guys know when I finish the book and how much time we have left. Good morning, everyone. This challenge has literally taken me like almost a full week. I started last week Tuesday and today's Monday. It's taken way too long and I'm dragging my feet, so I've decided to finish the last few hours, the last full working day today. I'm going to do it. Let me just adjust this. There we go. On the clock we have 8 hours and 39 minutes left, so it's taken me a while. It really has, and it's frustrating me now because I thought I'd be done with this video already. Last week I had a lot going on, so I just read little snippets. I read for a really long time on Saturday. Like, I've been doing little bursts, but I just want to finish this now. So we finished One of Us is Lying last night. Again, I was watching the TV show alongside, and after reading the book, I don't think the TV show is as good as I thought it was. It is so dramatized, and they've added in a lot of other details that I felt, I guess it was details that would make the show more interesting, obviously, and that matches the time better. There's a part in the TV show where they get like these anonymous messages that says Simon says do this, Simon says do that, but that's not in the book. So they dramatized it a lot. Vanessa as well in the TV show is like an influencer, always filming for her TikTok or whatever it is, Instagram, and she's on lives and stuff, and that's not included in the book. Vanessa's character isn't even that big in the book. So yeah, it was very confusing. I do prefer the book. It's not as dramatic. I like the little ending that they had. I had a good time. Nothing scary about it, obviously, but it is like a mystery trying to figure out who done it. It matched that vibe. I think for the book, I'm going to give it a 3.5 because that feels right. It's very juvenile still. Obviously, they are in high school, so it was just a fun little read to break things up a little bit. So the last book we are going to read is My Murder by Katie Williams, and at the back it says, Lou has been murdered. She was the 5th victim of a serial killer, Edward Early. A young wife, a new mother, Lou's death outraged a public breathlessly following the story of the serial killer's murders. Lou has been cloned. Along with Early's other 4 victims, Lou has been brought back to life by the government-funded Replication Commission. The women gather at a weekly support group, helping each other to navigate a society obsessed with their very existence. Lou has been lied to, but when Lou agrees to help fellow murder victim Vern secure a visit with Edward Early, a shocking revelation causes Lou to investigate the events around her death and question everything she thought she knew about her murder. It's basically, I think, dystopian sci-fi thriller horror. So there's a serial killer. She's part of a support group where they've been cloned. So very interesting. I thought this might be a fun read. I like the font in it. I don't know how long it's going to take me, but we have almost 9 hours. So let's go ahead and try to finish this today. It is a miserable day. I didn't think it would be. It's raining today, so I wasn't able to go out on my walk, and I need to finish this video today because I have some very exciting things coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I can't be stuck on this challenge. So let's go ahead and finish this. Hi everyone, it's been a few hours. I'm like halfway through now. I think we had 8 hours and 39 minutes left. Let me just pause this. And now we have 4 hours and 40 minutes left on the clock. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but I had like timestamps on the screen. I'm actually getting sick of lying here. I'm feeling quite antsy at the moment, but I think it's because this book isn't fully holding my attention. So like I read the back to you, we have Lou, who was a murder victim, and they live in a time that's far far from now. They're so advanced. It's like, it's definitely sci-fi. They have like VR sets that allow you to watch TV. They have these projecting screens as phones, and even glasses that can act as like your communication device. So it's very far in the future. So she's been cloned and brought back after she was the 5th victim of a serial killer, and they eventually arrested him, but the world was up in arms because they could have solved this murder a long time ago, and he would just kind of slit their throats. It was kind of a senseless killing. So anyway, they petitioned for them to bring them back, and now they have this support group where all the women that are cloned come together and support each other through their experiences. But it's mostly about being reacquainted with their body. Louise, her name's Lou or Louise, she kind of explains how it felt to be put back into her body. Like, it didn't feel like her completely. Like, she could hear like her blood rushing, but the feeling of like skin, the stuff, the liquid and mucus they put in her eyes, like everything just feels a bit foreign. She said she could even feel like her own fingertips, which is quite gruesome. But still, I don't feel like I didn't tell you, I'm on page with number 152, so halfway through the book now, on chapter 12, as you'll see there. So pretty much halfway through the book, and I feel like what the back says isn't really what it's about. It's kind of just explaining who she is, how she ended up in that exact place and time that led to her murder. So it's weird. It feels kind of genfic a little bit. And you know, it's not my favorite topic to read about, but when I'm coming into a sci-fi / dystopian / murder mystery, I want something more. And they're just explaining like the family dynamics, her relationship with her husband, how they met. And it feels like the murder itself has fallen like off the wagon completely. And I'm stuttering. We don't really get much of it. But the chapter that we have just read now, she's kind of met someone at this support group. Her name is Fern, as it says on the back, and the two of them have come together because they kind of want to speak to their serial killer. They have questions, obviously, but he has refused to see them, and his law firm is standing firm on the fact that they don't want to have this meeting set up. So in this time and place, when you go to jail, they don't really put you in like a cell. You get put into a coma for your allotted time. So he got 40 years. So 40 years he'll be put into a coma, and this time is now coming up where they're going to put him under. So they have to do it now before he's put under, because in 40 years, she said, should be like 72, and she needs answers now. That part has been brought up. So they've devised a plan to kind of manipulate him into seeing them, and they've brought his mother in under this like guise that she won like a prize, because Louise's job is working in like a VR chat room or a VR room. It's just actually called the room, and it's like therapy. They'd call it therapeutic touch. So you can hug someone for the lot of time, or you can hold hands, or just lie in a bed with them. So they kind of provide this service. So they have now tricked their serial killer's mom to come in to do that. And when she eventually mentions that she would like her son to set up a meeting, the lady just clicks out. So it's like, it's so weird, but it doesn't feel like, I don't know what I thought it would. I thought it would be more centered on the murder and how they got there, why it happened, how the other females feel about their murders, but it's not. It's just like a day-to-day in Lou's life, and how she kind of is trying to fit back into her role as a mother, as a wife, and in her job. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense, but that's kind of how I'm feeling. I'm getting antsy. Like I said, I just actually want to get up. What is the time even? It's now 2 o'clock. So usually I have lunch around now. So I might take a break. I have just paused it. I'm going to take a break, do some other things, and then we'll probably continue this, and I'll just close off this video tomorrow, because I'm getting very, very restless just sitting here reading this book. We're done. I ended up finishing my murder yesterday. This light, let me just adjust the setting, because it's really washing me out. I hope that's better. So I finished my murder yesterday, as I was saying, or last night, with 1 hour to spare. I don't know how I feel about this book. It says startling and gripping and completely absorbing, a smart speculative twist on domestic suspense. I didn't find it very suspenseful. It was kind of just a murder mystery, or even just a mystery, I guess, if you you take everything into account. I didn't like the fact that the author told us everything. Like, we didn't really have to guess much, and I don't feel like, I don't know how to explain it. I just didn't feel very satisfied with the story. So I think for this book, I'm going to settle it on a 3.5, I want to say, because yeah, it wasn't the best. It was easy and quick to read. Like I said, the font is perfect. The chapters are nice and short. Ultimately, it wasn't that gripping for me. I just found it very mundane and very boring and very like drawn out. It was quite like gruesome in some sense, but I would compare it to like a slasher movie. So if you do like slasher movies where that has like more of like a comedy side to it, so kind of like, I don't know if anybody knows about this or if it's given away my age, although we all know I am much older. So Scream Queens, it reminds me of that. And then also like the I Know What You Did Last Summer type of vibe to it. It's like kind of slasher. It was okay. I'm glad I read it, but a 3.5 for me. And then, like I said, we had an hour left, so I decided to pick up A Death of a Bookseller by Alice Slater, and I made it up to page 32. So this one, it's based in the UK. It's two girls who work at a bookstore, and one of them is completely obsessed with like true crime. And when a new girl comes in, she's super envious of her because the new girl is not very nice to her specifically, and she's trying to like befriend her. And then I think something happens because I think the one girl, her name is Roach, I think she starts to stalk the other girl. So that's kind of where I got to. I don't know really what it's about, but I thought I'd just finish my time up with this because it was in our TBR. So that means we read 3.5 books. That's not bad going considering I didn't just listen to audiobooks, which normally I do, well, not normally, but I've tried to do the kind of immersive read, but I find that I basically read similarly. Like, I probably would have finished 4 books then, but I'm still happy with the amount of books that I read. So altogether, I read 1,162 pages, which really isn't bad for a slow reader. I'm even surprised that I finished this one in under 8 hours, which is unheard of for me. So let's just do a very quick recap. We started off with The Weight of Blood, and I think I gave this a 4-star. It is definitely the most memorable book out of everything that I read in this video, and yeah, I would recommend. It is a modern day retelling of Carrie by Stephen King, and I found it really, really interesting, really compelling. Not scary as such, but I don't find like slashers and stuff like that scary at all. I find more paranormal things scary for me, and like demons and stuff. So this for me wasn't like, but it was definitely the best book we read this week. Then we read One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. And this, I already said that I watched the series. It was all right. The book is all right. It's pretty good. And I think I'm going to give this a 3.75. YA high school murder mystery again. Fun, very easy to read. Like I would say like a palate cleanser. I know most people have already read this, but like I said, I'm catching up because I didn't have any sort of like BookTok, BookTube, anything when I was growing up. So I never got to read this, but I would recommend this as well for definitely a palate cleanser. And then My Murder by Katie Williams. Like I said, not my favorite type of book because it doesn't really, it's not action packed enough for me. It is a lot like exploring how our female character felt during her adaptation to being cloned and all of that. Twist only happened, I would say, at like 90% through the book. So very slow moving. I think a 3.5 for this, and then I can't give you much more on this. I think in my next video we'll work on finishing this and I will be able to tell you more. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you would consider subscribing and also give this video a thumbs up if you like it. I really do enjoy doing 24-hour readathons, but I don't think I would do this method again. It took me a week. I prefer to just take 2 days, split into 12 hours, and then it's done, and it's like a video that I have in the bank. But the way I did it now was for a reason because I had a lot going on next week, but you'll see more about that in my next video. So do consider subscribing. Also click the bell icon to get notifications every time I upload, but I have some exciting news which I will tell you in my next video. But with that being said, I'll see you all next week. Bye guys.